first generation of my teaching here, the very first base graduate of my program here, number one. And then we've stayed in touch all these years, and through Facebook, through other communication sources. Whenever we play in Chicago, he's always come out, brought other people, family and guests and friends, and he's been hiring any number of alumni of the program over the years, and even some family members,
Right.
So I'm incredibly proud to have an alumni that's had a career that took him around the world with several famous big bands, Herman Miller, Tommy Dorsey, and a klezmer organization. Back when that was kind of a newish thing to take out. I remember you were on the cutting edge of the klezmer explosion.
Yeah.
That happened
Through Europe and
all over the world, and has had a little business for almost 2 decades now, playing hundreds and hundreds of major corporate and wedding and big contract events with all kinds of famous people, and I'm sure he'll tell you more. But the most important thing is that for the past almost year we've been chatting back and forth, and he says, I really want to give back, and he's always said that the thing that feels best to me in my life now is when I can give back to where I gave was given gifts. And so we've been talking about dates and things and other things. We had a meeting with the dean and with Professor Director of the School of Music, Riley Wong today, and figuring out what the next step is. The exciting ideas of having a semester or even more often convo or a evening series, DPI series, where we can address some of these topics and bring in guest artists. He's also talked about helping us endow, keeping this sort of thing going so that marketing and getting you guys ready for the real world is part of your education and not something that you have to run into at the end of your studies and all of a sudden try to figure out, what do I do now? So I'm going to just say thank you, David, for being here.
Thanks a lot, everybody. And I remember sitting in those exact same seats about 30 years ago and thinking a lot of the same thoughts and struggling with a lot of the same things that you guys are dealing with now. And so, as Tom said, I did want to give back some of my experiences, and I've been on both sides as a sideman and also as a business owner, somebody who hires and fires musicians. So there's a saying by Warren Buffett. He says, we learn from our mistakes, but they don't have to be our mistakes. So right now, for the next 45 minutes or so, I'm going to talk about some things that you guys can do which will exponentially make your life easier after you graduate. So by the time you graduate, you will have a pretty good idea of what you're walking into. Because a lot of times in the collegiate world, you spend a lot of time concentrating on your instruments and ensembles and practicing, things like that, which is absolutely crucial. But you also have to have one foot looking a little bit forward throughout your whole life. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. And you guys can ask some questions at the end. We'll go through some different things. But I'm going to share some of my experiences and some things that I found which you guys probably haven't thought about. Okay, so rule number 1, you guys are all great musicians, right? Okay, they're aspiring musicians. So that is the prerequisite, okay? I'm not going to talk about, this is assuming that you guys are all very good, very proficient at what you're doing musically. I'm talking about some of the other things, okay? Now, each of you is a brand. Like every shirt you have on, every iPhone, pair of glasses, sweater, whatever, those are brands. You guys are all brands, okay? Toyota has certain attributes, Apple has certain attributes, Gap has certain attributes, and you guys have to think of yourself in that way. And whether you like it or not, what's your name? Colin, what's your last name? Tabor. So ColinTabor.com, you are a company, okay? You ever realize that, right? So everything related to that has to be, what kind of person is Colin? What kind of product is Colin? What features, what benefits do you have? And so think of yourself in that way, and you need to build up all the different aspects of that brand so that you are a full, complete company. And there's reasons why you buy an Apple phone versus an Android phone, because they have certain things. You guys have to think the same way in terms of yourself. Now, everything related to you has to do with that. So, number 1, being reliable. Are you a guy that's going to be there on time? Can I count on you to be there 15 minutes early? Are you going to have the right outfit on? Are you going to be message for you? Are you going to get back to me quicker? And sometimes you'll see, people that are maybe not the greatest musician or the greatest instrumentalist, but somehow they get all these great opportunities. Where over here, you've got some guy who's a complete virtuoso, but he shows up late, he forgets this, all that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? People used to deal with that stuff. People would put up with virtuosos and, oh, he's just a genius, right? But now they won't. I'll just call somebody else. There's a stack of great musicians in Chicago that I can just get another great trumpet player. I'm not going to put up with all kinds of nonsense like that. So be reliable, be a product, just like when you buy an Apple phone, you know this is going to be a great phone. So be on time, and I can't stress for that stuff enough. Be prepared in terms of if it's this type of gig, make sure you have the right instrument, the right music, the right whatever it is related to that. And other things related to you, like your car. If you get a car that's going to break down on you and you're stuck somewhere and you can't get to the gig or you're running out of gas, all those types of things are part of your brand, okay? I'm not saying you need to buy a Mercedes, but get yourself a reasonable car that you can count on. You know, things like that. Your instrument, keep your instrument in top condition, get a backup instrument. Have extension cords. You'd be amazed how many gigs have been blown because one guy forgot one chord, and Tom can tell you all about that, right? How many times, or some trumpet player forgot his mouthpiece or something, or silly like that. So make yourself, if you guys have a car here, or wherever, put yourself in an emergency group of chords, a power chord, a patch chord. If you're a horn player, a backup mouthpiece, whatever, okay? Give yourself that luxury of like, because you can't be perfect, right? All it takes is one thing, one $3 chord, and you're out some $400 gig, you've lost your relationship with the band leader. Things like that. Technology. Make sure you have an up-to-date phone. People will not tolerate like, oh, well, I'm not really an email guy, I'm not really a text kind of guy, or like, I don't do Facebook or Google. Like, it's not an option anymore, you know? Now, you have to keep that stuff in reason too. You can't be like constantly texting and constantly. Use technology to make your life easier, to make you more efficient, to make you a better product, because it gets you closer to your goal. But don't get too caught up in using Facebook and texting all your friends, because that can really eat up your time. And you'd be amazed how much of your day is wasted on all this silly nonsense. Does that make sense? Because there's an endless supply of websites you can go to and silly, things that you can get involved with. So try to keep the focus on what it is that you're here for. You are here to become professional musicians. You're here to improve your brand as a person and make you more valuable to somebody like me that's looking to hire people, okay? So all the stuff I'm talking about is back related to that. So if there's latest software or apps to learn, that are related to helping you move ahead, someone who doesn't have it, do it. Check it out, see how it helps you. Okay, another thing you need is a really good attitude, right? Now, how many people just get tired of being around people that, oh, this will never work, I'll never get this gig, I'm not going to make this audition. What does that do for you? You kind of, if you're around that person long enough, you get sucked into that, right? And the same thing if you're around somebody who's really positive, hey man, let's go do something. Let's go try out for this thing. Oh, this is above what I'm not experienced enough to do it, but let's try it. Let's go do this. Let's go take a chance, So you want to be around people that are successful, and not just in music. Surround yourself with people that are successful in whatever they do. Maybe somebody's a biology major, and they really love they're really striving to get some master's degree, or to get some grants, or to, all these different things. So surround yourself, whoever they are, with people that want to achieve stuff. Because guess what? Those are the people that are successful. The people that envision themselves doing something great and not just getting through, being okay, kind of. So strive for greatness, surround yourself with great people, and you're going to have a much better time with it. In terms of a musician coming to me, I don't want to have any egos. People that have achieved tiny things and like to talk about it over and over again, Personally, I hate name droppers. I was talking to Michael Douglas about that, and it's just so tacky when people do that. So, But so be helpful, positive. What can you contribute to what's, if you're playing in some ensemble, hey guys, I got this new arrangement. What do you think if we did this? If you just want to be a guy who just shows up and just kind of gets through stuff, you can do that, but you're not going to be great. The people that are great are the ones that are contributing and the ones that are adaptable, okay? So if you think, oh, well, this ensemble is this is that, but the people that are successful are the ones, right, that have that flexibility. And the same thing with athletes that are able to adjust to things. All the great companies, look at a company like, you guys remember something called Blockbuster? Right? I mean, when Tom and I were growing up, that was like the place to go. Friday night, you go over there and you go pick out your VHS and, you know, Weekend at Bernie's 3 or whatever it is. And, great movie, by the way. And, you know, they didn't evolve. They didn't change to what's happening, all right? So those people that are like, oh, I'm just going to keep doing it this way. Those of you taking notes, write down this book. It'll take you about 20 minutes to read. It's called Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. And it's about the ability to adapt to what's happening rather than fighting it. Because the people that fight it, they get lost. Okay, so always be moving ahead with different things. Just be aware of what the gig, so if I hire you for a gig, I want you to be there early, properly dressed, ready to go, all the right equipment, positive attitude. You are a brand that I know I can count on. When I call you, I know you're going to call me back. If I text you, I know you're going to get back to me. And you'd be surprised how quickly that starts to accumulate too.
Can I ask a quick question on to interrupt?
Sure.
What do you, and this is important, I run into this all the time, what do you consider like a reasonable response time and what past that is unreasonable in your line of work?
It depends. It's, I'd say 4 hours for a text.
Okay.
I think is good. I think 4 to 6 hours.
Email saying?
Email's a little bit longer. I guess depends on the urgency of it, you know. But 12 hours certainly.
Okay, everybody got that?
And that stuff's important too, because here's one thing that'll make your life easier. You guys ever hear of the one-touch technique? So when you get some email, you look at it, you deal with it, you respond to it, and you do something with it. You don't just go like, oh, I'll get back to that later, and then you go on. That's how you accumulate all this other garbage, all this other text I don't get. If you see a text and you've got the answer, right away, get back to that person. It'll help you declutter your mind. It'll help that person get the information they want, and you'll live a lot more fun life. You're not going to be hanging out with your friends like, oh, I know I got to answer that guy in the email, right? Just take care of it. Just deal with it, right? If you got some paper you got to do, write it. Write your paper. Don't go out at some party and then know that you got this paper to do. You're going to have a much less fun time at this party knowing you've got this big paper to do. Okay? You guys are laughing. I get it. Okay. Like, guilty as charged. Okay. Now, here's another thing. How many of you guys have business cards? Right? You got a business. Okay. Good. So, here's the thing with business cards. Do not buy the free ones, right? It says, hey, Jiffy cards or whatever it is in the back. Get yourself, invest a little bit. Spend $50, $60. They're really cheap. Get some nice quality paper. If you want to invest, get a great logo, you know. Colin, you play piano or anything? Bass, okay. So Colin bass, get a, you know, whatever you want to come up with that. Make sure all the information is up to date. If you move, you get a new phone number, don't cross it out and put in, come on, man. Spend the $50, right? Do those little things, it makes a difference. I've had people hand me a drummer named Chuck, who shall remain, last name shall remain nameless. He would send me his business card, and it said strictly professional, right? With one F, right? You know, like completely misspelled all these. So it doesn't bode well, okay? So make sure everything is perfect on the card. All your contact information is up to date. It's very clear. Put it on some quality paper too, okay? It's not so much to ask. Because that, once again, you guys are in business for yourselves, and so make sure all that stuff helps. How many people here have websites? What is it? You working on it?
I have one. I just need to update it, and I need to get like my own name.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. All of you guys should own yourownName.com. Go to GoDaddy, and If your specific name is not available, do your name and then music.com. All right? Now, when you go to set up your email, you can do, instead of tomknific@gmail.com, go tom@tomknific.com. Okay? So that's going to look much more professional too. It looks like, wow, this guy's really got it going on. So, because you are, once again, you're the company, just like Apple or Toyota or Interlochen or Pat, whatever. Okay? So work on those little things like that. And they can still have them to redirect back to your Gmail account, your Yahoo, whatever you want. But this way, you kind of look a little bit, wow, this guy's really taking himself seriously. And they'll respect you that much more. All right. And you can buy these things too, very easily. Now, if you have maybe a friend or your uncle or your roommate who's going to build you a website for free, wow, what a great thing, right? Really bad idea. Here's a lesson in life. Never hire anybody you can't fire. Because there's nothing more expensive than free or cheap. So hire somebody who actually knows how to build a website, or better yet, you guys go to Squarespace, jot this down, squarespace.com, get yourself a nice clean website. You can pick out a lot of different designs. They're very easy to use, very easy to update. Buy that for yourself. Learn a little code, okay? I've studied it myself. I've learned how to use it. Use WordPress. That's what you want to be using, WordPress. But it's very easy to use. You have a question? Oh, yeah, that's what you're using, yeah. Yeah, so just learn a little bit, and things are much easier to use than when I went to college, where they had a 3-day assignment to send an email, okay? So don't be afraid of this stuff. Jump into it. You do not need to spend thousands of dollars on some website company. They're ripping you off. Until you get to my state, where you've got a 25-page website that's got all kinds of stuff, you don't need that stuff right now. Build yourself a nice, clean website. Here's a big one. If you have a calendar, make sure it's up to date. Don't invite people to your party. There's some concert you have from 3 weeks ago, right? Because they'll stop coming to your site. Make sure it's updated. Make sure you understand how to update it. And also own the site yourself. Don't turn over the keys to somebody else. Here, build me a website. Here's $1,000. You guys have to own this. Okay. Here are some good people to have in your life. All right. A supportive family. Supportive friends who are musicians. Supportive friends who are not musicians. Because you also want to develop yourself as a human being, as a well-rounded person, okay? Not just, I'm just a musician. So if you start dating somebody, make sure that you have a girlfriend or boyfriend who understands you are a musician. And you're not going to, once we start dating, then I'm going to switch him over to, work at Office Depot, right? This is more, right? I'm an Italian restaurant. Don't ask me why I don't have Chinese food on the menu, right? You are who you are, and find somebody who understands that and understands your passion for what you do. Get yourself a great graphic designer person who can help you out putting some things together. A financial planner, an accountant, right? We creative types are not necessarily the most balanced, that type of stuff. So find people who really are and ask questions. It's okay not to know everything. Get yourself a nice, peaceful place to live. You want to eliminate as much clutter from your life as possible so you can concentrate on getting to the things you want to get to. There's all kinds of distractions all over the place. Okay? And concentrate, getting your nice place together, getting how it's set up the way you want it, but don't get too caught up in all the other distractions around you. Here's some people to avoid in your life. That's equally as important. People with bad attitude, people that don't want to do anything, people that are lazy or unambitious, crazy girlfriends or boyfriends. They will do bad things for you. People that do a lot of drugs or have drinking problems, that stuff, you can't even go there, because that will just really mess you up in the long, because you're taking care of them and all this kinds of, it's just not good. And time wasters, people that just want to talk, hang out, and just, I don't have time for that stuff. I've got places to go. If you want to help me, you can come along with me. And we can have time to hang out and goof around, that's fine too, seeing movies, whatever. But somebody who just, they see you in the hall, oh, my back hurts, see this thing, I'm like, give me a back rub, right? Be careful with that. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Oh, my locker thing got stuck, let's talk about that. And then, my mom got a new hat. Did I tell you about her? No, I can't. Okay. Here's some quality things to do on a daily basis. Quality practice. When it's time to practice, don't be like, oh, I'm going to get, so now I forgot my pencil. Let me get my pencil. And then my phone, my phone's in charge. Oh, I got to charge up my phone, so I got to go over here. And then, oh, my hair has got to, get all your stuff together, go in, now I'm going to practice, right? When you do something, one thing, the quality of whatever you do is going to go up exponentially, right? So when you're running, you're concentrating on running, do that. When you're eating a meal, it'll taste better if you concentrate on, if you're just wolfing it down, you'll lose that. If you're practicing, the quality of your practicing and the results are going to go up exponentially if you just practice, right? So concentrate on that. Read a book. And it doesn't have to be just about music, about anything. Expand your brain. Find out about, how bricklaying works, or some great person you admire, unrelated to music, okay? So make yourself a whole person. Join a gym, become physically active, visit museums, look at other sources of inspiration instead of just old records or listening to other bass players, Go check out some incredible bassoon concerto, right? Wow, I never thought about that. Some different things like that. And always keep learning. Stay curious. Don't feel like it's once you feel you've got it figured out. Now look at Tom Kinnick. He's like one of the most accomplished musicians, certainly in this school, if not the country and the world. He is constantly looking for more things, studying and writing and growing and stuff like that. So don't ever get too comfortable. No matter how much you've achieved, there's always somebody who's achieved more. And there's also people who have achieved a lot less too. So keep growing, stay curious, about the world. Here's some things to do well in college. Okay. Number one, practice. Play with musicians that are better than you are. Get as much professional experience as you can. So if you get an opportunity, like one of the things I did, I played the West Shore Symphony, Grand Rapids Symphony. I played all kinds of jazz gigs all over. I started my own jazz trio. I paid for my own college my last 2 years by doing little jazz trio gigs. So get as much experience as you can, even if it's something that's like, I would never play with that kind of group, do it. Because you need hundreds of hours. I played at the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island, 6 hours a week, 7 days, 6 hours a night for 7 days a week for 3 seasons. Imagine how many songs that is. It's a lot of experience. So get as much experience as you can. And collect videos of you performing. So as when you're coming out of the collegiate world and you're coming into professional thing, I'm going to ask you, do you have some video of you playing? Now, you can do like a recital or something, that's one thing, but I'd like to see you in a very realistic kind of way of something related to what I'm looking for. So maybe some gig or something. If you're playing at some solo gig, set up a little video. It's real easy to do, right? Get some great video of yourself, and you've got plenty of time to do that. Show me a variety of styles of different things that you can do. Ask questions. You guys are so lucky. You've got incredible musicians and professionals all the time. You pass in the hallway, ask them questions, right? Somebody's got a question? Don't wait till your lesson to ask them a question. These guys, you've got this incredible access to all these amazingly talented, experienced musicians. Ask them questions. Go to weird concerts, like some Gregorian chant. Who wants that, right? But I'm going to go just because it's going to be fascinating, it's going to be different, and that's going to be something to look for. And when it's time to play, play. Have fun. You're in college, right? Go have fun. Go drink beer. When it's time to work, work. When it's time to do your homework, do your homework. Don't intermix the two, right? If you do that, you're going to have much more fun. Trust me. When you're getting great grades and you're nailing all your lessons and everything, you're going to have so much more fun, and people will be more attracted to you because they can tell that you're taking care of business, right? So do that kind of stuff. Now, in terms of getting more work, when you guys graduate, that video is going to come in really, really handy. Having a quality business card, and do some research. Find out what kind of career you want. Maybe some of you will become great jazz stars and stuff. So find out about what's involved in becoming a great jazz star. So talk to people who are actually doing it. Go hang out. Go to Chicago. See great jazz musicians. Talk to them. Ask them questions. Befriend them. Whatever. If you want to get into a symphony orchestra, find out what that's really all about. Right? Find out what that process is. Because when you go see some great concert in the concert hall here, or even in this stage, you should be asking yourself, how do I get from here to there? Right? So ask questions, talk to these people, and we're developing a program that you'll be finding out over the next few months in terms of something that's going to bridge that gap a little bit better for you, and finding some ways of seeing how you can take their experience and all the stuff that they've been through and apply it to yourself. Does that kind of make sense? So that's basically, there's a great quote by Lawrence Hurst, who's actually a bass professor at University of Michigan and now at Indiana. He said, be a good person, number 1. Be a good musician, number 2. And number 3, be a great bass player or whatever instrumentation you are. So if you keep those 3 things in life, be a good person, be a good musician, and be a good instrumentalist, you're going to have a very great, enriched life, a bigger life than just being a bass player, right? Because you're not a bass player, you're Colin, right? And you've got your funny mustache, and you like to hang out with your friends, right? So you're much bigger than just a guy who plays bass, right? You're a guy, explore things, travel as much as you can, and the world is so available for all you guys. It's not on your phones, right? It's not on some website, it's not on Facebook or Twitter. Life is out there, right? So, and music can bring you guys so much joy and so many incredible experiences if you jump into it. Don't be fearful. Hold each other's hands. Be kind to each other. Be supportive of each other. Try to help each other kind of grow as well. And when you become a much higher quality person, you'll have so much more to contribute musically. So especially if you're, how many people are jazz majors here? Right. So what is jazz? Jazz is based on improvisation, right? And what is improvisation? It's based on experience, things that you've gone through. Oh, I've practiced this, right? So life is kind of like that too. You're constantly improvising. You're kind of like, oh, well, this person, here's this guy speaking on the stage. I wasn't planning on this, and now he's doing. So adjust with life. But if you experience that and you make yourself a full human being, you're going to have so much more of a draw to, I think, improvise much better. I think a little bit. So of course the discipline goes along with that, but open yourself up, be prepared, get great videos, great marketing, and keep in mind the big thing of, everything related to you is a brand. So when you do that, I think you're going to have much better success. And when you come out of Western, and I've hired many graduates to perform with my various bands and stuff, I'm looking for that. I want somebody who's got a positive attitude, somebody who's ready, somebody who's a great instrumentalist that I can count on. And if you do those types of things, your odds of having an incredibly rich life, that you still love music, make a great living at it, and that's kind of what that's all about for me. And I made a lot of mistakes when I graduated, and I was nervous. I didn't know, I'm going to come out. How am I going to do this whole thing? I can play pretty well, but so what I did is I started asking, asked all these other band leaders who've been doing it a long time. I said, if you could do it over again, what would you do? So I took all their years of experience and all their mistakes, and I kind of crammed it together, and I saved a lot of time by doing that. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to do with you guys too. To kind of, now you can blow this off, and this is just kind of another random guy, and I'm going to go, whatever. But if you apply the stuff I'm talking about, I guarantee you, years later, you're going to benefit from it. There's a quote that I like, it's amazing how much my parents learned when I got done with school. Think about that, right? So it's like, oh, that's what he's talking about, And that's what's going to happen. All this stuff we're talking about now, you'll start to appreciate it that much later as you get closer to graduation. So that's basically what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Now, I wanted to see if you guys had some questions and some stuff that what are your kind of thoughts for your future and stuff like that? What are the things that you guys are struggling with? Yeah.
I think at the moment, it's very easy to go out and to think about myself, but I know that I need to
I think what you have to do is do a self-inventory. So what you do, and it's difficult to do, but if you really sit down and you're honest with yourself, like, you know what? Like, you really are not good at this thing, admit it, you know? And if you're able to list, these are the things that I do well, these are the things I don't do well, or things I don't want to deal with, and then make a specific list, okay? And if you are an entrepreneur kind of guy, or if you are a musician kind of guy, you can say, my goal personally is to only be doing the things that I'm good at. Other things I will get other people to do for me. So I think sitting down with a piece of paper and logically looking at what things you're great at, what things you're not great at, and then seeking those people out. And here's another thing is that the more you give, the more you get. Like I have a program with my music company where we donate all the flowers afterwards to nursing homes after the weddings and homeless shelters. And we have a program called Play It Forward. So if someone hires us for a wedding, I hire a small ensemble to go play at a homeless shelter or a nursing home, you know? And I do those things because it gives back to people. There's a certain ebb and flow of all that stuff. So try to, if you want to make a friend, go be a friend, right? If you want to get involved with something, help somebody do their thing. Help other people achieve their goals, and they're going to help you. Maybe that person may not directly, but it puts out a good karma. That you're going to find all the people you need in your life. Once you have a clear picture, if you guys are looking for a red sports car, you're going to walk outside the West Edge and you're going to see all these red sports cars flying back and forth because your subconscious brain gets something in its head and it goes, wow, okay, I'm going to do all this research. You may be playing some jazz gig or having a beer, but your subconscious brain is working to getting you what you want. You know that saying that be careful what you wish for, you may get it? That's what it's about. So, have a clear idea like what you're about, what you're good at, what you're bad at. Be honest with yourself because too many people get, hey, I built my own website. Well, it looks like crap. Congratulations, you know. Hey, I made my own suit. Well, it's upside down, you know. Like, there's no credit if you're not doing something. You know people like that? Hey, look, I did my own thing and it's awful, you know. I'm not a very good cook. I pray after I eat, you know. So I just figured out that it's cereal then milk, you know. So I'm not a great cook, but I have a girlfriend who's a fantastic cook, right? So know what your limitations are and bring people in that you need.
And then what do you offer them besides money?
See what you can do for them, right? I mean, if they're going to volunteer for that, say, how can I help you? You know, how can I make your life easier? Or what can maybe you got some skills that they don't have. See if you got something like that, or Starbucks gift cards or something like that, or some other way of helping them. So find out what they need and then fulfill that need, you know. But so if you get a whole interesting group of friends, you know, like the super friends, like how great that is. It's like this incredible team. I've got this great auto mechanic. I got this fantastic accountant guy. I got this graphic designer, this website guy. I got all these people on your team. Now you can really just concentrate. I'm going to be this badass bass player because I got all these people behind me. And like Muhammad Ali, he said he had to fight George Foreman. Now you guys know who these people are, right? So George Foreman is this 6'7" giant, enormous human being, right? And Muhammad Ali said, if it was just me fighting George Foreman, he couldn't do it. But he thought about all his family and friends and a stadium full of people, of all his relatives from generations back, all behind him. And that gave him such strength and such energy that he could take on anybody. So each of you have families, each of you have generations of families and friends, and everybody's behind each of you guys, that you can take on all this stuff. Because you have all these people behind you, even though you're just some guy slumped in a chair at a recycler, right? But use that power to think about that. When you're in your dorm room by yourself, and you're bummed out, or you're practicing some horrible sonata again, think about all these people that are behind you guys, that are rooting you on. There's a stadium full of people rooting each of you guys on every day that's hoping that you will come through and be the champion for yourself and for all of them. You know, and when you do that, that's when you really do something great and bring other people with you, too. Come on, let's go do this thing together, right? That's when the real magic has happened, is when I'm able to give out thousands of checks to lots and lots of musicians, and I see them able to do things as a result of that. That's what you guys can do, and making people happy as a result of making great music. That's what you get the honor and privilege of being able to do. That kind of make sense? Any other questions?
If I was looking to expand my business and have more opportunities than I have now, I have too much time and I want more things to do. What is your take on the decision to either continue to develop the channels and relationships, the business opportunities you currently have, or to try to make new ones with people you don't know? It especially comes up in the conversations I've had with friends recently about moving or not moving.
Well, I think you have to weigh things out. You have to figure out the pros and cons for each situation and what gets you closer to what you really want to have. And because each situation is going to have its pros and cons. But if one has way more pros than cons, then you have to consider that. And you have to also look at, like, what kind of life am I going to have? And then there's something called intuition too, right? We all deal with that, right? There's a reason why we don't cross the street with the semi-trucks coming. We just have a feeling that, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. But you got to weigh these things out, and you have to write them all down. I'm a big proponent of writing stuff down, and look at these different options and seeing, where does this take me? By moving to this other city, what am I losing here? What am I gaining there? And what's important to me? Now, that also could change at different points in your life. Maybe you're getting married. Maybe now you're having a kid. Maybe you want to get closer to schools. Maybe that's more important. There's a story about the man in the river, and the man can never go in the same river again for two reasons. The river's different, and the man's different, right? We could all meet here again 3 weeks from now, but you guys are in different places, I'm in a different place, whatever. We'll never have this exact moment together. So you have to see what's right for you right now at this particular moment, what your goals are right now, and then, I guess, kind of trust those things. Does that kind of make sense? Now, let me show you, I think I brought it up here, but I keep a running list, a to-do list. It says David's to-do list, and I have all these, the whole list there, and I write down every night before I go to bed all the things I have to do, some big things, some small things, and I just go through every single day. And I started doing it when I moved to this place. I had so many things I had to do at once. I got the electric company, and then moving people, this box, that, and so now I do it all the time. It helps me so much. I sleep better. When I wake up in the morning, I know exactly what I have to do. So put together, Colin's to-do list, right? And just make about 50 copies of this stuff. Before you go to bed, write down, I got to call this guy, got to email him back, I got to set up this meeting, And as you go through, get one of those Sharpie markers, cross it off. And there's something that actually happens in your brain. The chemistry of your brain changes when you're like, oh, God, it actually feels pretty good, right? So you'd be surprised, a little thing like that, because I don't know about you guys, but I have so much stuff going on in my head. I got to go this, I got to go pick up the car, I got to drive it. But when I have them all on paper, then I feel so much more comfortable and so much more, just easier for me to kind of deal with a little bit. Does that make sense? Because the college students, you guys have a lot of stuff. You have social things, you have music things, you have academic, different classes. You guys have the biggest challenge is scheduling, right? You have so many demands, so many concerts, so many things to do, right? You're like, oh, I should be over there, I should be that. But whatever you're doing, you're eating a banana, enjoy your banana, right? It's fun, you can have a banana. But right? It's gonna taste better, right? I didn't mean to embarrass you, but whatever you're doing, I'll never bring a banana to, we have a strict no fruit policy here. But whatever you're doing, do it, okay? Don't do this crazy multitask, because there's no such thing as multitasking. That's an illusion. You're doing something or you're not doing something, right? So whatever you're doing, do that. Okay? Enjoy that. And you'll be there in the moment, whatever you're doing, whatever you're thinking about. You're watching some movie, don't watch a movie and be like, oh, I know I gotta, call Canificaries on me. Make sure you enjoy that moment. And by getting rid of all the business aspects of stuff you have to do, you're gonna get so much more out of it. When you're playing a concert, when you're at your best is when you're actually feeling those notes and you're really feeling the strings and the vibrations and stuff. You're not thinking about, oh, my car, did I lock it? Did I hit it? You're in that moment. So whatever you're doing, be in that moment, you guys. and really think about things that way. Any other questions? Okay.
Do you have any other like book recommendations?
Book recommendations. Yeah, well, I love biographies a lot, and there's also biographies about people that you admire, and they could be out of your, like I read recently, Giant Steps by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? That's this person that completely is unrelated to, he's a big jazz fan certainly, but somebody who's achieved things that are really, really great. And find out what different topics you're most interested in, spend some time at, I actually just signed up for something called Mentor Books, a Mentor Box, I think it is, and they send you every week, or every month, they send you 2 books written by great inspirational authors, and then they give you all the talking points from each of these too. So that may be a good resource for you too. It's like $89 a month or something like that. But yeah, so try to find things that are outside of your box too, out of things that are not related to music. But I go to the Art Institute quite a bit. I'm a premier member, and I go there just to get some inspiration of creativity and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things out there. I played for Adlai Stevenson, played for his daughter's wedding, and here's a guy who was, great politician and everything. He did not have a television. He had a wall of books. This entire thing was all, and he had one of those like Barnes & Noble, those sliding ladders. That's what he had in his house. So he could buy like whatever TV he wanted, but all he had was books. And I know it's hard to do, and but it's something that could really, I'd like to spend some more time reading more, because it's easy to get distracted from television and all kinds of stuff, but that's just kind of a thought there too. Some other questions? Sure.
What was the first step you took when you got out of college to get your career rolling, and would you do it over?
That's a very good question. I think the first thing is I started calling people, letting them know that I graduated, and just kind of started to rekindle some of the relationships I had with people before. You guys can always call me. I'll leave a pile of business cards over there. I'll be your friend. Like when you join one of those reps, was it like MySpace? Like Tom was always your friend, right? So I'll be your one friend, right? So that was a big thing. And I did get some good business cards going. I just I was lucky enough right after college, I had a job up at the Grand Hotel and stuff like that. So I was able to find some ways of getting some work. But I think now you guys, if you are prepared like your junior, senior year, and you've got all this experience, you've got those cards, you've got all that stuff rolling, then when you start to call people, then you're like, okay, I feel a lot more prepared, rather than like, do you have any experience? And then you're like, how do I go get some experience and stuff, right? So you guys have this 4-year, maybe a little longer for some people, period of time where you can get all the experience you want, and you can really take advantage of this time where you are here. This is the only time in your life when you have this great chance, because life gets busy, right? When you get to be like us, you have other obligations and things. So use this time to your advantage to get yourself ready, get those cards together, get your website together, get your email together, and respect yourself that like, okay, I'm gonna do music, I'm gonna be a professional musician. This isn't just kind of playing around and stuff like that. I'm gonna build myself so when I get out, here I go. Let's go do this thing. Because there's lots of people out there that are sitting in your seats that are, maybe their parents wouldn't let them go to music school. Oh, you're gonna be a dentist like your Uncle Maury, right? So, and Uncle Maury, right? But so take this great chance. Your parents are supporting you guys. Here's all this money. Go to college, learn how to play your instrument, enjoy music, and look for opportunities. Don't box yourself into like, oh, I can't do that. That's maybe Disney is looking for stuff, and there's a board over here with all kinds of opportunities. So in the summer, try to get as much. Go to Interlochen. Go try to network and try to get involved with other things. And the more involved you are now, some of those contacts can actually bring you great jobs later. So talk to a lot of people every day. Try to make one new contact. I don't mean some lady in Idaho and on Facebook, like, hey, I need Trump too, But, right? I mean, but people that can actually like bring you more work and give you more opportunities later. Okay, does that make sense? Any other? Sure.
What do we need on my website?
Okay, good question. Okay, write this down. You need to have, first of all, a clean, professional picture of yourself. You need to have quality video. Doesn't have to be like state-of-the-art stuff, but I've got an iPhone 7 Plus, takes excellent video, okay? Make your video short, okay? You need to have all your contact information. So your address, cell phone, landline, whatever you have, those are good things. Photographs of maybe you performing in a variety of styles. Maybe a quick bio about where you went to school, what ensembles you've played with. You can even do a short video about yourself. Hi, my name's Colin. I grew up in Kalamazoo, and I went to Western Michigan. Performed a wide variety of styles. I enjoy canoeing and dancing and whatever. So tell people, show you a little bit who you are. Show some of your experiences. Keep it short, maybe like a minute, just a quick little, show that you're a human being. Have a list of upcoming performances, okay? If you have a trio or a solo piano, hey, I play every night at Sharon's on the Lake from 6 to 8 o'clock, whatever it is, but make sure that's current. If you're gonna have a website, you gotta stay on top of that, okay? Keep it a very clean site. Don't do all kinds of other distractions and gadgets, and make it very clean. There's lots of great designs. Squarespace.com is excellent. It's very inexpensive. And make sure, whatever site you have, that it's mobile friendly. I think it's called responsive is the term that you want to have. And also own your own website. Like I said, do not turn the keys over to anybody. Own it. Learn how to use it. Don't rely on somebody else. If you need to update, you just got some gig over at Nelson's bar or whatever. Don't send an email to your website guy. Wait 3 weeks until it's gone. Learn how to control that. Okay. Things are a lot more accessible now. Get yourself a Facebook fan page. How many people have fan pages, right? Facebook, right? Okay. So do that. Use those things. Use all the stuff that's available for you. Use Instagram. How many people are on Instagram? Right? Use all these things. You guys live in a time where all this stuff is. He's not a big fan of Instagram, right? Okay. So use all the stuff that's available for you and make it interactive with people. Show them that that you're up to date and stuff. Make quick little videos. People don't have the attention span to watch your 17-minute recital. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break your heart, right? I know you think it's fantastic, but people will not read it, right? Think about that. When's the last time you saw something like that? So keep it short, keep it compelling. I always say keep it like, how many people know who Danny DeVito is? Right? So I think modern marketing is about being short, entertaining, and punchy. Get it? Okay. Right. So think about marketing that way. Be impactful. Be different. Like with my music company, I find out information about couples, and we played for a couple that met at O'Hare Airport in baggage claim, and I got them a gold carry-on suitcase. All the guests signed the suitcase and gave it to the couple as a gift. Right? That's different. That's completely a different type of thing. Here's a good book to read. Seth Godin, Purple Cow. Learn how to be different and how to use what's different about you as a plus, right? Instead of being, the hottest trend is this. Be yourself. Don't be a weak version of somebody else. That's what Judy Garland said, Don't try to copy me because you'll just look like a pale version of me, right? If you want to be the next Miroslav Vitos, well, don't be Miroslav. You can take elements of his playing, but don't try to be that, right? So you can't help but be yourself because your parents kind of designed you that way. You come with all these different things. So you have to make sure that you take things, I really like what this player's doing, or what that player's doing, or that's, different things like that. And then take all these elements, they come back to you. Does that make sense? or different singers. How many people are vocal people here? Okay. So yeah, take all those things. I really love this one singer here. I really don't like the way he does this type of song, but it's great for ballads. This guy's super for this. It's kind of like cooking. Did you guys ever have a flat top grill? Is that out here? Okay. Okay. So you take all these random ingredients, you put it in the bowl, and you give it to some guy in a weird hat, and you're like, okay, let's stick it. How's this going to work out? Somehow they put it together, and it kind of works out. So think about what are the elements that you admire the most, and it could be not just musically, but people. You never meet somebody and go like, oh, this guy's a complete jackass. Well, definitely don't. What is it specifically about this guy that I don't like? Or what is, oh, man, that guy's really got it together. What is it about that person that I really like, that I admire, right? And then say, okay, wow, that guy, well, he's a sharp dresser. Certainly not talking about me. But if you're talking about somebody who, has some attribute that you really appreciate, wow, I'm going to try to be more like that. And I always think about that when somebody dies. Think about their best qualities. What do they represent? And then when they die, think about the best qualities and incorporate them more into your life. So if you guys may have some grandparents that passed away, what was your grandmother really about? What was she stood for? And you say, like, you know what? She was really kind to people. I'm going to be more of a kinder person in my life. Then all the stuff that they stood for will always live on through you or your kids or the people around you, right? So think about that too. Does that kind of make sense? So that's kind of helped me a little bit. And then when you get to be, older like us, then you're this incredibly complicated, work of art. You've got all these splashes of color because you're kind of born as this canvas, and each person you meet, some people make their big splash of color, some are just little dots. So when you get older, you become this incredible work of art with all this vivid colors, I just met this one guy for 10 minutes at the airport, but man, what an impression this guy made, So think about that and expand your world, and you will become a much more interesting person. Your music will get better. You'll be a better musician. You will live a much more full, fulfilled life, and you'll contribute more with your music. Make sense? Sure.
That's a super simple question, but do you have to have your home address on your business
No, you
card?
certainly don't have to. Well,
Because I had business cards from a while ago, and I've avoided getting new ones because I keep moving schools.
okay.
So should I just get new ones and leave off address? Is that really important these days?
Yeah, well, probably in your circumstances right now, I'd say probably your cell phone is probably fine then,
I mean, if you have cell phone, email, website, Facebook page.
Maybe you want to have it on your,
That's important.
I would probably put it on your website because you can change it so much easier. And that's another thing, when you go to somebody's bad website, it's like they're lazy because you can update that website anytime. And when somebody hasn't changed it, it's like, hello. So I would say, just keep it simple, maybe keep it off for now. You're not, like sending, like importing, exporting, right? Like George Costanza? Okay. So yeah, for now, just keep it simple like that. But make it big and clear, okay? And make it simple. You got that, right? You just got that, okay. Importing, exporting. So what's up with that? Okay. So yeah, and I'll be around, whatever questions you guys have, I'll give you my card. I'll be happy to help you guys out, but Seinfeld stuff. And it's amazing. There's just a program about how cell phones would actually solve 90% of the problems that were on Seinfeld. It's really hilarious. So anyway, just a thought there. But anyway, I love you guys, and I want to see you succeed and be great, and not just be great musicians, but really add more beauty and more kindness in the world, and get as much as you can out of music and helping people, and you're going to live incredible lives.